just yesterday we had a customer forum here in Barbados where we invited a large number of our customers to come in and talk to us about their experience with Flow. And it's not something, this is something we do on a regular basis. And the whole idea was we asked them, at each stage, so one of our major initiatives as a company is to become the best service provider in the region, not just in telecoms, in everything. And part of that initiative is we have what's known as a customer experience initiative, and within that there's different segments, and I lead across the region a particular segment of it, which is around the usage of people's of their service, whether their enjoyment of it, what do they like, more importantly what don't they like, what can we improve. And part of that was yesterday we met with customers who, some have been with us for 18 months, some with us for 5 weeks, a whole mix. Some have just one service, some have all services, and they basically told us about their experience with Flow. And sitting in the room with them for 2 hours was an incredible experience, because it was actually, I was very proud of what we have achieved in 18 months. And it was overwhelming, really, the positivity. I've never seen anything like it from customers. But there was a real sense of anger among some of them, because they now feel that they're going to lose all those good things, that it's going to go back, to quote many people, Lime have bought Flow and it's now going to go back to the way it was 5 years ago. Right? And I think that's a real and genuine fear. And I guess the answer that how I try to address it is that Columbus as a company, I guess the DNA of the company, we're 10 years old. It's built on the culture in here is about customer service, it's about excellence. We believe if you have happy staff, happy customers, that leads to happy shareholders, So, and that's been part of our mix, our DNA, all along the way. In the new entity, the new combined entity, and I guess, what some people aren't aware of is that John Risley, who's our largest shareholder in Columbus, now owns 20% of Cable and Wireless. John Malone, who's our second largest shareholder, owns 13% of Cable and Wireless. And Brendan Paddock, who's our chairman and CEO, I believe owns 3 to 4%. So roughly between those three gentlemen, they now own, I think, 36-37% of the new entity, Cable and Wireless. So they will have a very big say in what the new entity does. The new CEO, the CEO of Cable and Wireless is new in that he only joined last January, and most of his team are relatively new. So they have publicly expressed that they're very much, and I can say this for sure because I've met Phil Bentley and spoken to him. Nobody's more aware of the bad feelings that a lot of people have for Lime in Barbados than Lime. And he's made a lot of commitments to try and address that. And I think one of the biggest things they can do to try and address it is actually acquire or merge with us. So while it's an acquisition, it really, in my opinion, it's the merger, because the other thing is the senior management team at corporate level was announced a couple of weeks ago. John Reid, who was the employee #1 in Columbus, he was the guy. Brendan tells a story and a joke about when he first started out 10 years ago. John used to be, he'd wake up every morning and John was sitting out in his office with his back stuck to a chair, because he was employee #1 starting Columbus in Barbados, or in Trinidad actually. This was in Bahamas, but they were moving down to Trinidad. John was recently announced that he's going to be the executive vice president for the retail market. So he's going to be in charge of both Lime and Columbus in the retail markets going forward for retail services. So John is all about, as is Brendan, about the customer, about culture, about excellence. So if John is going to be involved, that gives me a lot of confidence that that's going to be what we're going to try and instill in the new company going forward. And like Columbus is a privately owned company. There's 4 individuals really control it, or 4 entities control it. And so those are the guys that really would have been involved in the process to come to the decision around who would we be acquired by, or who would we merge with. And I think it's no secret at this stage that there was multiple bidders for Columbus, and during that process most of it, if not all of it, was covered, I believe, by the people involved signing non-disclosure agreements, etc. In particular, I think in relation to CWC, because they're listed on the UK London Stock Exchange, there is a lot of restrictions around what can and can't be reported, who knows what, and a lot of that, I guess, is to do with share prices and people jumping the gun and all of these various aspects. So because of that, there was a need for secrecy, and I think there was also, it had to be announced on the London Stock Exchange. So yes, I think that the general staff, 99% of staff, found out about it the morning, actually the evening. We sent an email out to all staff the night before it was officially announced. And I guess that was due to some of the protocols that have to be followed by being part of a publicly listed company. We're not, as in Columbus is a private company, so we wouldn't be essentially governed, but we had to respect, I guess, the CWC had their rules and regulations they had to follow, and I guess that was why it was followed. If Barbados was to not approve it, what the plan B is, I'm not kind of a party to it. I don't know what it would be. I think it's important for people to kind of look ahead, and I've seen some of those articles, and there's a lot of, I guess, scaremongering, you know, a lot of stuff being said out there, negative, some positive. It's a mix, you know. I think people need to look at what's happening down the line. What's the industry going? Who is becoming, you know, who is the main players in the market? So even if you look at Barbados, you know, our largest competitor is significantly bigger than us. It's significantly bigger than the combined entity. You know, they have 14 million subscribers across the region. When we merge with Cable and Wireless, will have less than 6 million. They're in 32 countries. We as a combined entity, I think, will have operations in 17 countries. You know, so if you look at, certainly us as a standalone company in Columbus, where would we be in 3 years' time? Our main competitor have a very formidable track record. They're a very strong company. They've achieved some incredible things in the last 15 years, and they've now bought, I think in the last number of years, they've bought up to 20 companies. They bought Sportsmax, they bought GCN, Subsea Fibre, they've bought cable companies, multiple cable companies across the region. They're involved in media, like we just spoke about. You know, they're involved in recruitment. They're involved in all of these industries, right? And if we look at where we are as Columbus, we don't have mobile. And we're looking at one of the largest competitors coming in here, currently already built out a fibre network in Barbados, starting to offer fibre services. We're looking at how can we compete in 3 or 4 years with them. It's going to be very difficult if we didn't have a solution in the mobile space. You know, so the environment is very fluid, very flexible, it's changing, and we honestly believe that the merged entity is in a far better position to compete effectively, because there will be mobility, there will be a level playing field in that we will all have the same services. If we don't have mobility, it will be very difficult. I mean, if you look at, you know, the mobile market in Barbados, I think they've spoken about over 110% penetration. So if you take it as 300,000 people in Barbados, you're talking about 330,000 mobile subscribers. I saw Digicel made an announcement that they have 60% market share. So, you know, they have upwards of 180,000 subscribers on the voice front. We don't even have, not even 10% of that, you know, from a voice perspective. So, you know, this is about really, I guess, enhancing what we can do and trying to compete effectively, because if you look 3, 4, 5 years down the line, it would be very difficult for 3 entities in Barbados to be successful. I don't have any visibility on what Lime don't have, or, you know, so, but what I do know is we have roughly 240 staff in Barbados. From the media, I understand Lime have around 200 or so. So the combined, you know, and Lime has gone through a significant consolidation themselves over the last number of years, and in terms of the headcount that they have, it's significantly less. They've reduced it, and I think it's no secret Phil Bentley, the CEO of CWC, has publicly commented on some of the decisions that Lime have made in the past about how they treat with their customer, and that's led to them reviewing their policies. So you know, I think if you look at the combined entity and the number of staff that will be involved and the number of customers that will be served, it's not an excessive number of staff. If you put, you know, 440 staff, if you put it this way, we have over 900 staff in Trinidad. We have about the same in Jamaica, as Columbus alone and Flow. So we don't have any mobile capability in our business right now in Barbados. We have some people like myself who have worked in mobile in the past, but we don't have a team in place. You know, so there's definitely going to be areas where there is no synergies, i.e. they have unique skills, but for sure there's going to be roles where there are synergies. So will everybody have a job in 4 months' time? I can't say for sure. Will everybody be doing the exact same job they're doing today? Definitely not. So some people might be doing different jobs, and there's going to be lots of new opportunities coming out of this as well. So in short, I guess, Ian, I don't have an answer, But I think there's certainly going to be a lot of opportunities for people, and even as a combined entity here, it's not a massive organisation if you take into account the number of customers that are served. We would be the 5th mobile licence holder. So in September actually the TU granted another mobile licence. So that's a competitive space as well that's inside there. And as I said, our friends in Digicel say they have 60% market share. So that's a very vibrant competitive market. But where the perspective we put forward when we were applying, what we wanted to do different was all around data, mobile data. So while mobile voice is very highly penetrated in Barbados, mobile data isn't, and that's where we saw the opportunity. If you had your iPad and you're in the office and you want to watch a scandal or whatever it is you want to watch, you can go and watch it on your iPad. And more importantly, you can also go in and schedule it. If I want to record it, hey, I'm not going to be home, I'm working late, I want to record that, or there's a football match, I want to record that, or whatever it is. So that is something that's live, and we're testing today to roll out very, very soon. More importantly, it also allows you to use your voice. So if you have a fixed line from Flow and someone calls you on your fixed line, it can also ring on this device. So if you're in the office and you have the app, all you'll do is leave it open, it'll actually ring on your phone. And effectively you're paying no charges. So if you're in New York, you're in a hotel and you're connected to a Wi-Fi network, someone calls you here in Barbados, it'll ring in New York on your phone and you can talk to people. So that's something that we're on the verge of launching early new year. As I said, we're beta testing it internally now. So that's a very important tranche and strategy to our business. And I guess, I really want to emphasize, none of this is stopping because of this. If anything, we're accelerating more because CWC had plans in these areas as well, and we're now taking the best of both. So we're able to come and give people a better product, So that's what this is really about, is about trying to serve customers better, give them better product. It's not about taking people back to what they had 5 years ago and charging them more money. It's really about looking forward and giving them better than they had today. And you spoke about Brendan. Brendan always talks about leaving a country in a better place than how we found it. And I think we made a number of commitments 18 months ago when we launched the Flows World. I think we've more than met those commitments. We're significantly ahead of where we said we'd build. So I think people have trusted what we said, and I think we've delivered on it. We will